Search for years, but you lose everything you find. There's braille for the deaf and the signpost for the blind. There's heaven for the cruel, but the devil waits for the kind. Track you through the grass.
Connected to PilotEdge.
And you ache just to smell her clothes. And I'm looking down on the snow. You see her face in everyone that passes.
Alright, so for a change, OBS is saying my streaming settings are excellent. What we're going to be doing is I've loaded everything up. We're going to be flying the Alabeo 195. I'm doing all these crazy hand gestures just because I'm actually kind of pumped, kind of nervous. Coping we'll call it, with the slight pressure of what we're about to do. But I'm going to fly a DME ARC with plus minus 0.1 to plus minus 0.0 deviation on the DME marking that I give you. So I'm going to tell you guys what I'm going to do. I'm going to brief how I'm going to do it, how it's going to be done. I forgot to tell you guys, beware of math, because there's going to be a shit ton of math in this. Well, not a shit ton, but you kind of need to know math to understand what I'm doing. There's a principle called flying a tangent, or a tangent line, and that's what you're in essence doing in a DME ARC. And there's a great instrument, two instruments actually, that'll tell you what you're doing. One of them is the RMI, and the other is the DME thing with a knots indicator. You need to have a knots indicator to do what I'm going to do. Now I could fly this in the Embraer, or the Embraer, however you want to pronounce it, but if I fly it in the Embraer, the speed is too much to do these shallow arcs and give me enough time to explain it to you guys. Stealth bomber. Oh man, that's what I was afraid of, but it's gonna happen from time to time. Then there is this SciTech guy. At least the math will be more accurate than some of the products they create. But I tell you, coffee does miracles with brains and jokes. So that's the plan. We're obviously looking at an insane approach. Like, I think this would be one awesome approach to shoot. You're 24 DME, you do an arc, you pull a radial in, you do another arc, and you land at the field. I mean, that is the end goal of the approach. Hopefully you land at the field. But nonetheless, I think that this would be a solid approach to try and do in the real. I have no clue where this is, to be honest with you. I just looked up DME ARC on Google Images, and that's the first thing that came up. Let's see if we can edit the scene a little bit. That's where it is. There's an Embraer picture underneath that, but shh, don't tell anyone. This song is just so ridiculous. I have to play it every single time I open. It's just such a good mix. For those who don't like it, I'm sorry. I'll probably change it in a wee bit, in a tiddly bit, but as you can see, we do have the sim up. Ooh, let's get rid of the Steadicam, because we ain't doing that. That was last night. The frames are back. I found them. They were hiding underneath a bed. I don't know why they were underneath my bed, but my frames were hiding from me. So I just was like, frames, come on, come back to me. And they're like, okay. And pretty much what I did was I goofed, messing around with HDR on, HDR off, HDR on, HDR off, and then after numerous restarts after the sim crashing, things got a lot better. I have a feeling that my audio is going to get weird here. Nope, still seems fine. Okay. So, that's that. I'm hooking up my Surface so I can kind of explain to you what's going to be happening. Oh, Mr. Pants. I really do love links, but you're going to have to ask me first before you do one of those. I mean, I don't want to read a paragraph about your disorder that you have, Mr. Jock Pants. Anyway, what a shame when people do that, right? He could have been a valued person in our community. No, just kidding. Let's not lie to ourselves or to you. Sorry. If he has a problem with it, he can PM me and we'll deal with it in a private setting. But don't come in here posting links and I have no idea who the hell you are. It's a sign of respect, right? Respect the chat, you get respect back. You come in here posting links with a ridiculous username, probably not going to go too well. So if he's going to spam, you might want a better username. Magic! There we go. So you guys are staring at something where I can write, or apparently not. Right? That's the worst writing I've ever done in my entire life, so I'm glad you guys got to see that live on Twitch, but there you go. So this is what I do to actually paint the liveries. Every livery I do is painted through this program, so just keep that in mind. Including that Kalula livery. The only thing that was typed was the text. Every symbol and thing was hand-drawn. If you look carefully, you will be able to see that. But anyway, I'm going to break down how we're going to be flying these DME ARCS. I'm having too much fun in capital letters, you're right. I need to stop. Right? I need to treat this stream like it's boring. I can do that. I can do that for you. Oh, this music, though. Alright, let's stop the music, because that's too much fun. Yuppers on respecters. That's right. That's right. Alright. So we're going to draw the international symbol for VOR, which is not just a dot, but it is a six-sided shape, which looks something along the lines of this. Oh, well, that's the artist's interpretation. That's a modern art VOR. Alright, and then there are these things called radials that come out of it, which are these linear lines that you see here. But we're not focusing on that. What we're focusing on is keeping a fixed distance away from a VOR, or what they call an arc. Now, this is not an arc. This is an oval. Or an ellipse, depending on where you come from. And that's really not what you're looking to do. What you're looking to do is actually fly an arc. Or, actually, it's technically a circle when you're flying a portion of a circle. Alright, maybe we'll get a circle here. I should be able to double-click this and it should become a circle, but that's not happening, as per the usual. So, we'll straighten this out, make it look a little bit more circly. That looks a little too tall, but whatever. We're going to draw a circle here. You know, we'll change our color because we have the technology to do that. Ooh, fancy green. Alright, so that's going to replace that in green. That'll be one DME arc. We'll be flying another DME arc, and it looks like all these DME arcs aren't going to fit, so we're going to modify this a little bit. I'm going to be flying a total of 3 DME arcs for your pure enjoyment. Each of them is going to be at a different distance away from the VOR. You can see that we are doing 3, one that's closer and 2 that are further out, or one that's very far and 2 that are closer. Van Gogh, there it is. We're going to be doing at 1 at 2.5. This green's atrocious, so we'll darken it a little bit. And then we're going to be doing one here at 5, and one here at 10. Alright, so let's draw a representative plane. This is where it gets fun for everyone. And let's break down what we got. So we got layer 3, which is going to be our relative plane. We'll do that in Why Not Orange. So here we go, drawing a plane in Why Not Orange. There you go. You can tell I flunked art many a year ago. You can tell that that was a class that I elected not to redo. And hello, Pedro. Radio Nav Nuevo. Nuevo? 9? Radio Nav 9? Very Radio Nav 9. Nuevo is 9, unless I don't know Spanish. Stream! Oh man. So I added the tail. You can see it's a little bit off center, but Yeah, Josh, I said I was going to be streaming, and then it like never happened because I got busy making really good food, and then I got busy talking with someone. And so what you're flying in a DME arc, right, you see this heading, we're just going to extend this heading out for a tad bit here. This is when math comes in, so for those of you who are afraid of math, I can't give you a hand symbol when math is over, so sorry about that. I'm going to create another layer underneath just so that way you guys don't see how poorly I can draw a line. I mean, I do have a line drawing tool, so it'd be kind of sad if I couldn't draw a line. But so what we have here is the, I just extended the heading that we're flying, and we're pretty much flying a tangent line to the arc. So what a tangent line for the sense of aviation is, I should have actually come up with a better way of explaining this. So this is the first time I've explained it. I kind of had an idea of how I wanted to go about doing this, but I never actually tried a script. So welcome to version 1 of the DME arc stock. What you're flying here is a tangent arc. What that gives you, this is probably one of the most in-depth streams some of you guys have been in. I'm sorry about that. Oh yeah, we aren't going to get super in-depth in math or drawing straight lines without the straight line tool. But nonetheless, here we're at 2.5 DME, right? As you guys can see, if we keep flying this heading, oh here we go, I figured this out. If we keep flying this heading and we end up here, we're going to be at, well shit, for straight lines. We're going to be at a little bit more than 2.5, so we'll call it 2.5 plus, right? Because we're going to be 2.5 plus some number. And also, you see this difference here is what we're going to see in our speed in that gauge that'll give you, KTS, DME distance in nautical miles, and then time until you hit the VOR. You will see that this number will increase. And when this number increases, Evening Flight Sim 481, you came for one of my beautiful drawings. For those of you guys who haven't seen Flight Sim 481's video series, he does an excellent video series. He's quite the Microsoft Paint artist, so if you guys would like to see Van Gogh's work, definitely check it out. Best of luck installing X-Plane. It's always an accomplishment when you install an actual flight sim. And see what we got going on here. Why not a beautiful shade of pink? So you see this part here is what will be represented here with a speed that's going to go up. So if you wait long enough, you're going to see this DME is going to go up. But we already know that this is going up and we're flying not in the right direction. So what we would naturally want to do is, wow, we're just going to end up with a rainbow coalition of colors here. What we're going to want to do is turn back to that 2.5 course until this gets to 0. So I'm assuming that we didn't wait long enough for this to change. Alright, so I'm assuming that this is still reading 2 on the DME, but this is increasing to, let's say, 7. And so the way one can test this is you bank to either side. So if you bank left and this number increases, then you know you need to bank left to decrease this number back to your target point of 0. And if you can keep yourself around 0 throughout the whole arc, you'll be able to shoot a DME arc at plus minus 0. The issue is, the faster the plane you're going, the faster the plane you're flying in, well, let's actually think about this sentence. The faster the plane you're flying in, the less time you have to react. So by doing it in a plane like this, which is a 195, I fixed the flaps issue. I'll explain it later. But this is not, it isn't the F-18 of the 1960s by any means, or the 1930s when it probably actually came out. But anyway, we aren't flying a fast plane, which will give us plenty of time to react and give me some time to think about it. So we're over here at Blythe, so this is obviously the Blythe VOR. And hello, Wackaday Man. It's been a while. Right, and so as you can tell, if you're in a, well, you can't tell because I haven't flown it yet, but if you're in a big plane, the bank that you're going to have to do is going to be a lot harsher and a lot faster changing as far as when you're banking left, when you're banking right, you're going to have less time to react, so it's just easier to fly a slow plane as far as that goes. Now, another example which we can talk about, which will obviously just keep changing colors until I run out of colors. But I don't think we're going to run out of colors here, is if we're here, we'll pretend that this is our plane again. This dot represents our plane. If we turn into the VOR, then the thing that gives us a speed, that should just be KTS. It'll be a little bit easier if it says KTS, won't it? KTS DME and time, which will be a capital T. Hello, Alex. Thank you for the host. This is going to increase. Now, what you're going to notice, or sorry, this is actually going to decrease. What you're going to notice is when we fly here at about 2.5, you're going to see about 180 on the minutes. So let me explain that. When this is 0, this is going to be reading 2.5, and this will be reading about 180. When we do it at 5 knots, you're going to see this is going to be about 360 when we're doing 0 knots indicated. I'll try and point it out, and that green, that blue is actually a different color on my screen than it is on yours apparently. And when we're doing it at 10, you're going to see once again multiply this number by 2, and for those who are good with math, that is 720. For those who aren't, the answer is 720. You can calculate it longhand. I'll give you like 5 minutes to do that. No, just kidding. But anyway, back to the actual part where I was talking about. If we're flying into it, this speed is also going to increase, and this is going to decrease. And so therefore we would turn back this way until we hit 0, and then we'd keep flying the course. Now, I'm not going to be using an RMI. As you can tell, the plane that I'm in, the plane that I'm in, the great, grand old, multi-expensive plane, it's actually a single plane, all that we have is a HSI. So we're going to use that for our initial course. I'm going to set a goal course, and once we hit that, we're going to turn back out and continue flying it at a different radial. Most likely I'm going to be very quiet when this happens, because it's going to be a fair amount of concentration on my end. And definitely recommend you check out Flight Sim 481's videos. He does some really good work. I heard there's another Flight Sim Con happening. I won't be there, but I mean, I've no reason to be there. So anyway, so that's that. That's how this is going to work. I'll try and walk you guys through it. It might be rough at the start because trimming and stuff. So we might just do a couple maneuvers around just to give ourselves some practice, shall we call it. So let's get you guys back to, because, well, that's not the sim, was it? That wasn't the sim, but this looks a lot like the simulator, right? You see the frames in the upper corner. We're out here in Blythe, so pretty much all that it has to load is the airport, the windsock, and one road. I probably shouldn't be taking off this runway. There's another runway over here, but I just moved us to this one. So we're going to pre-flight the plane. To pre-flight, we engage the brake. We make sure tanks are on both. That's good. Aviation papers, well, they're somewhere. And we have everything on board that we need. Cockpit objects, that's fine. And this static elements can be removed. Flight Sim 481, I don't know, are you going to do a playlist with everything that you do? So, like, you have part 2, and then you're gonna put part 1 in there with the with part 2, because that'd make it easier to find, because I was kind of searching for part 1 earlier today, because I couldn't really remember what part 1 was, actually, sadly. So there's the surface. You can see that we have the sectional up above. That's just going to give us some frequencies that we need. I'll kind of zoom in here just so that way you get that zoomed experience. You feel like you're looking at an actual sectional chart, not something on a screen far, far away. We're streaming off of Chicago's server, not really relevant, but I did just Alt-Tab into that window, so I thought I'd share some useful information for you guys. It's all about which server has the best upload rate and then delay time, which is obviously fairly important in streams like this. So, let me stop my talking, let me up the X-Plane volume, because normally when I'm playing music I'll turn it down a little bit. And yesterday's stream, I was really annoyed that the sim kept crashing. Figured out why it was because I was being stupid. I had something in there that wasn't finished, and so that's why I couldn't get you guys solid coverage all the way through. It would have been really annoying, especially if I was flying along and then someone switched into that airplane. Master's on. Obviously we have our instrument lights on, because who wouldn't turn those off? When you turn off the battery, parking brake is full here. That means it's set. This goes to on. Fuel boost can go on. Don't mind this. You're just going to be seeing that. That's noise inside the potentiometers. See, it's still there. And we're going to push a 1, a 2, a magical 3, and one more for best of luck, because we hate odd numbers. This really doesn't make a difference in X-Plane. We're going to move this to start. This really doesn't make a difference for aircraft start, but let's let it turn itself over. Ooh, listen to the sound of that V8. It's not a V8 at all. It's a radial engine, but anyway. I'm not really going to care about P's and T's. My goal is to not worry about pressures and temperatures. My goal is to worry about the flying. If I wanted, I would fly this plane properly for this, and I would let it all warm up, but this isn't a YouTube thing, and you probably aren't going to be seeing the engine gauges anyway, to be honest with you. Alternator fuel boost. Radio obviously needs to be on if we want some form of navigation. The Blythe VOR is over here. Over here. Oh, whoops, correction. Over here. So on departure, let's get a DME reading right now. We're about 2.1, so on departure we're just going to fly around for a little bit. Let me trim the plane out, get some power settings, and then we'll actually start talking about what I was talking about.
Yeah, I believe it's 0.6, it says in the chat.
Am I right in thinking has updated? I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the engine's not going to explode or crack. Coronado doesn't do that sort of simulation on their planes. They actually I found some interesting stuff about that earlier. Welcome, Fire Tim. Hopefully you aren't on fire, and hopefully you have a fire extinguisher. I'm not sure if they did anything. If they actually updated the turbo model. I'm running 10.36. I have 10.4 installed. But not all my planes are over there, so it's just easier to run this as well as scenery. Yeah, you'd be surprised what I've gotten this thing inverted and done all sorts of things with it, but we don't talk about that live on Twitch unless I completely forgot I was live on Twitch. Anyway, so to make sure 17.4 is tuned in, that is the Blythe VOR. We should grab the ATIS or the ASOS, in this case ASOS, save ourselves. We're going to go to 20.175, maybe not. All depends on my radio tuning skill and prowess. There we go. Switcheroozles. Comtoozles. Victor. Where's Victor? Yep.
Oh yeah, good point. Good one. 26, 725.
So it's kind of warm. 0306. 2956.
Yeah, you seem to be one page ahead though.
What? Really? 2956? You for reals with that one? I was like, oh yeah, 2956. I was about to go to 2996, and I was like, what the heck? It's the furthest I've spun one of these knobs in a while.
4 Charlie Delta.
2200 Zulu weather. Sky clear. Visibility more than 10. Temperature 33. 2.6. Wind 030 at 6. Altimeter 2956.
Yeah, seriously, it is low pressure. Who turned on the space vacuum? Ah, these click spots. One thing that'll drive me nuts about Alabeo Coronado planes are these freaking click spots. Well, that's not how you fix them. There you go. Now you can click it, but from here, you can't. I don't know. I'm not the one who did the click spots, but it drives me nuts. Alright, so we're going to taxi. We're going to take runway something or other. Let's see which way we're heading right now. North. So it's probably east, so we're going to assume it's like 7 or 8. Let's check it. Boom, runway 8. See, didn't even need to know the runway number. I didn't even have the airport diagram open either. And that's not the ATIS that's not the Unicom frequency. Unicom is a classic 22.8, so we'll be smart 22.8. And Blythe traffic, November 827 Whiskey Uniform, Cessna 195 business liner taking runway 8, departing, and we're going to be maneuvering to the south of the field, Blythe traffic. Alright, navigation light, single taxi light. Now these become landing lights because we extended both of them. Those are out here in the wing. Sadly, they don't do anything to the flight model, but it takes a little bit of time to, I guess, code it into the flight model. So, start a turn, checking for traffic. We don't see any traffic. We're going to be headed away from the VOR. We're going to do just a little bit of maneuvering so I can kind of get us at an altitude and trimmed out. I expect some... We're going to figure out which way she's going to rotate. I believe she should rotate. Yes, she is going to rotate this way. Good. I thought that it would go to the right, but because of the wind pushing the tail to the right, it rotated our nose to the left. So we got up, a little sporty, but definitely not the most sporty takeoff I've ever done in this plane. The good thing about the heat is that we don't have to worry about our carburetor icing up. You guys, I'm sure, are going to let me know how the levels are if you would rather hear a little bit more of X-Plane. That can be fixed. I'm going to keep the climb out here. Looking at the map, it says 3,700, so why don't we be a good GA pilot and go to 3,500 and run the risk of running into a hilltop? Should be good. Yeah, we'll be fine. Not really, but, see, I said the first one we're going to do is 2.5, so let's head this way a little bit. I'm just going to do some maneuvering, because I want to get us to an altitude, and then power set, trim set, and then we'll come back and intercept everything. But for right now, just for the sake of simplicity, see this speed indicator? That's what we will be using, see, because we're turning towards the VOR now. It's going down, and at some point it will actually stabilize and become 0. That's pretty much what we're going to be using to do this. Flight in an arc. So I could do a 3.8 nautical mile arc plus minus 1. By using this technique, you just have to be on top of it and not let it get above like 10. Or else you're going to be in trouble kind of quickly when you're in the close ones. When you're out in like 10 nautical mile ranges, it really doesn't matter much. Let me see what we got going on here. We got tons of emojis. Yeah, there's a ton of moisture building up. Yeah, I saw that. Alright, so, as I said, we're going to get to an altitude here. My goal is to get us to about 3,005, and then we'll mess around with going back inbound to the radial and fixing everything on up. I'm going to do a power reduction here in a bit. No need to fry our oil, fry our engine. Oil temps are actually fairly sensitive in the real plane. The only reason I know that is because I read an AOPA thing about the real plane, which, for those who wonder where I get any fun facts I say about the plane, it's either that or a YouTube documentary. God forbid the free encyclopedia of Wikipedia. But some people get their stuff from there, and Wikipedia does have valid information. The thing that put me off to it was when I could change who won the Olympics, and they didn't care that I changed it. For about 2 weeks, no one caught it, and then somebody did and changed it back. So that's what put me off from Wikipedia right there. Middle school shenanigans. I changed who won the 1960-something Olympics. I head back towards that VOR here in a bit. As I say, I just want to get our power set, and we're going to come back and fly 2.5. We're just going to do a terrain check, because it should be fine out at 10. As we do further and further arcs, you're going to notice that's going to take more and more time, so I'm not going to do a full 90 degrees once we get a little bit further out. There goes that descending, and we're going to come back to the VOR here. Let's just get direct to it. Oh, great, wonderful. It's like we're almost already starting to fly an arc. So when you're flying an arc, you're going to be 90 degrees to your direction of flight, so it'll be like that, just except it'd be aligned. But we aren't going to be following with this, we're just going to be using that method that I talked about. As I say, I just want to get it trimmed out, and we're going to turn direct towards this thing here in a bit. Right now, actually. Get our feet on the pedals, because this plane does require some pedal input. Oh yeah, Wikipedia, like, it's great if you want an equation in picture form, but if you want someone to have typed it out for you, you're not going to find much that's useful. Alright, so we're going to be flying a left arc. Well, we're going to be turning to the left to fly an arc to the right. Just don't hurt yourselves thinking about that one. Flying direct to the VOR right now. We're kind of settling in. Altitude, really just want to be terrain clear at this point. Altitude's not my main concern. Although some people will be like, you can't fly it because you can't do altitude, but it's a fair point. Alright, so 2.5 is what we're looking for. We're going to try and trim this out. We got a ton of left lean here. Correction, rightward lean, which means left trim, if you want to get technical about your directions. And now we got a ton of upward lean. That's also called a climb, for those who wondered. Alright, let's get on a bank. At this point we're going to blow through it, which is fine. We'll just come right back, and so you're going to see this is going to go quickly away from where it needs to be. Go to 2.3, and we'll just pull it back. We're going to keep flying 90 degrees to our direction of flight indicated by this HSI, which is right here. And watch that speed tape increase. Well, it's not really a tape, but see that thing's going to increase? Okay, so that's going to increase. This number is going to go up to 2.4, then 2.5, so we're going to turn this way to get it back to 0. There's 2.5, so we're going to increase the bank. There's 2.6. And 2.7 will be coming up here if I'm not quick on the turn and not quick on the uptrend. Alright, so now we're going to be headed inbound, right? If I go this way, you're going to see the number increase. If I go this way, you're going to see the number decrease. So now we're headed inbound to recapture 2.5. We're going to keep the turn inbound. We're going to be flying an arc until we get to here. Okay, going too far one way, so now we're going to turn back in, head back to 0. Once we get to 5, it's plus minus 1, this is plus minus 0.2, and then at 10 we probably could do plus minus 0.0. So we're going to keep this turn inbound, which is then going to fix ourselves here. Actually, we'll keep going, and we'll go until here. Prove the point. Apparently I'm proving the point that I can't do this, so I'm going to quiet the mic. You guys can kind of see what's going to be happening here, and I'm just going to focus on this. Alright, so here we go. Expect this to come to 0. You see those minutes go up to 180 or 152, and then it's going to flip and start counting back down. So now we're going to turn back, get it to 0, so more aggressive on the turn. Alright, there comes 3, 2, 1, roll level, 1, 3, so therefore we're going away, so we're going to swing it back. You can see it's still increasing, so we're going to come back here. We've gone up 1 DME, 0.1 DME, we're going to swing it back. And here comes that radial I said we'd turn at, but you know what, I'm feeling confident, which is probably a huge mistake. So we're going to keep the turn going at 2.5 DME. So we need to turn back in, we're doing plus minus 0.1. So now this is going to come back in. Yes, my voice has changed because I'm actually kind of focused, which is different than the boisterous voice you heard at the beginning. And we're going to keep that turn going because it still hasn't changed. Keep this going until we get to 030, then we're going to quit and go the other direction. Go out, there's 2.5 again. And here comes 0.1. And 2, roll level, see if it changes. Does it increase? Yes, increase the bank towards the VOR. There's 0.3, 0.2, 0.0, 0.1 towards, 0.2 towards, 0.3 towards, or sorry, 6 knots towards the VOR, then we roll level. See it's going down, which means we're headed away from the VOR, so we're going to turn back to it. It's just a balancing act, that's all we're doing. We're being like circus performers. We're gyrating up and down in the air, but flying an arc perfectly. Kind of perfectly. Increase the bank, see that number should come down. Yes it does, therefore we were headed away from the VOR. And now we're headed back towards Mr. VOR. Or Mrs., you know, don't want to discriminate. And we'll let it roll level. This will get us back to 2.5, hopefully. There's 2.5. And we're almost close to that course, so we'll roll back level. Now, how do you know when that course is going to happen? You see when we intercept, so now what will happen is we'll roll this way, and we'll go to 5 DME, and we'll fly it there. Now, yes, the sim did just pause. There's a wonderful tool called Control P, which will show you your flight path. You press it again, it'll give you altitude bars. Regardless, so you can see that the DME isn't actually here, but you can see there's our arc right here. That's when it actually started. So this is us intercepting 2.5, and then right there's your arc. And now we're going to be headed outbound of it. Looks like we're actually turning inbound. Nope, we're headed outbound. And we're going to be flying it at 5 DME plus minus 1. This was plus minus 2. The next one will be plus minus 1. You shouldn't be smelling smoke in the cockpit. If you are, that's of your own doing. Wikipedia is rubbish, yeah. Disgraced, it is true that for technical data, it might not be accurate, but for the equations, it's accurate. There's certain technical information that I wouldn't pull from Wikipedia, but yeah, you can get some. So anyway, so that's what that looks like. We need a good hawk since SkySim disappeared. Yeah, I mean, you have a good hawk for DCS. I don't know. I don't have any issue with their hawk. Oh, thank you very much, Signorina Yak. That is the Yak 52. That can only be one person who's flying in a Yak right now. That'd be Mr. Josh J. Gibbs. Wonderful of him to stop on by. It'd be terrible if we actually continued moving, but there you go. That can happen at PilotEdge too. Let's get back to the instruments and let's head back out. Here we go. And there's only one person who would know about that Yak 52 CSL, so can kind of limit ourselves to who that might be. Should make it more fun for the controllers. And we're going to go over here, back to here. Let's keep ourselves going. So that was the arc. You guys could see us flying it. And there we go. Going to continue back out to about 5 DME. And we're going to fly that arc again. We're going to keep the rightward turn. As you can see, there's not much terrain out over here. And let's see what we got going on. We're going to start a turn here. Once we get close to 5, we're going to put ourselves at a 45 to intercept it. Just that way we don't blow past it like we did a little bit before. It's a Yak 55, if I said Yak 52. Recently was freeware release for the X-Plane bit, and I contacted the dev and he said sure, you can make a CSL for it. So I was like, sweet! So a couple minutes later I made a CSL. Well, 5 hours later I made a CSL for PilotEdge. 5 hours of work later it was a CSL for PilotEdge. There's 5 DME, we're still going way too fast, which means we're going to blow past it. We're going to keep that turn, we'll come back to it, and then we'll start it. We'll let you know when we're starting it. We're looking for the other traffic. Apparently they do not own a radio on the Yak 52. Good thing to note, I guess, if you pick it up from the freeware store, there is no radio in the Yak 52. Alright, let's head back inbound, and we'll readjust ourselves here. So we're headed in towards the VOR. We'll get it back at 5 DME. That's one of my problems, is intercepting it. As you can tell, once I quiet all this noise down that we're making in this aircraft, it's fairly easy to fly it, so we're going to come back to 0. We'll do a 90-degree rotation, sorry, a 180-degree rotation for this. We need to get moving on the bank. Alright, and roll, snap roll level, snap roll the other way. There you go. So you just have to keep in mind which direction you're traveling. So now we're headed towards it. So we'll keep ourselves nice and level. Still headed towards it. Remember, this is plus and minus 1. Well, it might be plus minus 0 at this point. And we're going to start a slight turn here in a little bit. Now that Josh has started making his own photo scenery, which is always interesting. Really cool areas that he started thinking about making his own photo scenery for. We're going to keep that turn going because we're headed away from the VOR. Our altitude and pitching up and down is going to make us seasick here. And there's 0. You see that's about 300 before it was 150. So let me get it back to 0. See if I can just pause the sim to show you what I'm talking about here. See how it capped at 300 when we were at 0 knots? When we were at 2.5, it was at 150 minutes. And then when we're going to be at 10, you're going to see it's going to be at about 600 minutes there. Khan Academy style of explanation. Yeah, dude, you're more than welcome there. Khan Academy's free, so is this stream, so I guess you get the same quality no matter where you go. I had an idea to Twitch engineering stuff, but no one gives a shit about differential equations, to be honest with you, to put it mildly. So we're going to keep flying this. You can see we're now headed away from the VOR, so we'll increase our bank here, and we're going to come back to 1, and let's keep ourselves focused. So now we're headed inbound, and we're going to keep that, and now let's see what happens here. We're still headed inbound towards it. So there goes 2, and 1, and this will come level, and then back we go to our inbound course correction. And this is going to become level again. And then we will start a turn. Well, we're also going to start a climb, which is good. Always good. And that'll just quiet itself back up again. And we're headed inbound, so we're going to move ourselves to level. And, well, we're going to move ourselves to level in one direction, but apparently we're going to go down in the other. Let's see what we got going on here, Willis. Somebody's making some mistakes, so we're going to keep the turn. So I don't want to go to 4.8 because I did tell you plus minus 1. If X-plane did wake turbulence, we'd be in deep trouble right now. We'll leave it at that. But X-plane does do wake turbulence, just to quiet that rumor, but what they don't do is it's not simulated through CSLs. Because CSLs are a object file that's moving through the air, not a flight model and objects file that's moving through the air. So X-plane will create turbulence behind a flight model that moves through the air. But because these CSLs don't have a flight model behind them and there isn't an exterior particle system, yeah, we need some up trim. There's no actual need, or there's no actual, wow, I just can't speak. There is no actual turbulence created by an empty object file maneuvering through the air. So, we keep flying this. We're going to let this plane settle itself out, figure out what it's going to be doing. Is that going to be increasing or decreasing? And we're going to pitch up as well. It's a massive battle with trim here. Just going to leave the joystick alone, see what it does. Alright, so that's going up, so therefore we will turn into it. And we're turning into it, and it's increasing, so therefore we'll have the intelligence to turn out of it. And there you go. So this is pretty much all that we're going to be doing. We're going to be flying out to about 10 here. Once this comes back in, we're going to fly it back out to 5. Very slowly, just letting that 4-5 knot number increase. And then, I mean, you can see how this works. If you guys really want me to fly it out to 10, we're probably going to do about 15 to 20 degrees at 10 nautical miles, because it's going to be a massive distance we're going to cover. But it'll definitely be something different. As you can tell when I get focused, the voice does definitely change. I'm not quite as energetic or excited, it may seem. But that's because all of the energy is going into figuring out why we're pitching up massively, and also making sure that I'm concentrating on whether we are going to or from this VOR. So here comes that number back to 300, almost 300, and back down. Therefore we should be headed towards it, so we're going to level out, and that comes back down to 1 in any minute. And then there's 300 again at 0, and then turn back into it. And there's 300 again, turn back out of it. You can see that we aren't exactly at 0.5. I don't know if you guys noticed that, or sorry, 5. When we're at 5, we'll get exactly 300 minutes. And that you could actually solve that equation. What you're doing is you're creating an arc and you're finding a distance. And because of the tangent, you're not going to or from it. It's giving you, I forget what the value is in form, but in essence, it's giving you time to complete one full revolution of the arc. And it would take you, it's saying 300 minutes to do one full 5 DME revolution, which doesn't seem quite accurate. Now there we go in the downward pitch. I have this null zone in my joystick, as you can see, and that's what's creating this oscillation I just found out. So we're going to keep it in the forward part of that null zone. Probably not the best idea I've had. So that's what's creating this weird oscillation factor we were seeing here. At first I was like, someone pushed me a failure, but I definitely don't think so, because this is definitely responding the way it should to a joystick. Yeah. So that's what's giving you this pitch. So we're going to bring it back this way a little bit and get us back to 5 DME here. Wow, this really got noisy all of a sudden as far as control inputs went. I'll be back with chat once I complete this. We're going to pause the sim. Probably the ARCS can give us a little bit of a beautiful flyby. Wouldn't be surprised. And then I'm going to move us out to about 10 DME. We're going to do this again at ±0 because there's going to be enough time to actually respond before the DME changes. I need to figure out why my joystick's all noisy, but that's something we can figure out a bit later. So we're coming up upon that 10. There's obviously going to be a flat spot in this arc when we were trying to do what we just did, which is reset ourselves back to 5 nautical miles. Alright, so there's 0, and then this is going to snap in about, like, probably 3 seconds. 2, 1, maybe a little bit more than 3 seconds. Alright, here it comes. And there, well, there it isn't. Wait for it. We can turn into the VOR. That number should come down. Let's see if we can get it before it intercepts to 0. Boom. Alright, so Control P, Control P. We should have an altitude, and we do, so you guys can see the, there he is. You guys can see the beautiful DME arc, which we attempted to fly at 5 nautical miles away from where we were. So, as we zoom out, you won't be able to see the yak, weirdly enough. But you can see right there's the 5 DME arc that we flew. It got very noisy in the middle, kind of stable, and then that was the part where I went to re-intercept it. So, back. I should clone the DVD and reinstall. I'm not going to tell you what to do with the DVD, dude. That is completely up to you. That is your call on the DVD there. So we're going to take it back out. We're going to fly it at 5. Oh, there's another plane. That's probably a drone. But we're going to be flying it out at 10 DME now. Interesting shape we made. I don't know, whatever you want to call that. Alright, so Control P, Control P, Control P, Control P. Minus the little coughing fit I was having there. The reason why I do it 4 times is if you're on an ILS, after you do it 3 times, you'll get a actual box for the ILS. There's his moment of fame. Oh, look at that. Tactical approach into a paused airplane. And let us keep going. Turn back this way. You can do this in any plane that gives you a DME, or a knot distance. So pretty much keep that in mind if you guys are looking for a plane that can do this. It's a lot harder to do it if you have the minutes. You just kind of have to keep maneuvering and have a feeling about what peak numbers you're going to get. And then that would be at 0 DME, and try and keep those peak numbers where they're at. And we're going to do this again at 10. We're probably going to fly out past 10, unless I can remember to actually do an intercept. Then we'll probably intercept 10. We'll do it at 10, and then we're going to come back to the field and probably get a yak demonstration all the way down, which is it's fine, you know, to each man his own. He likes to do yak demonstrations. The yak is a really good plane. Views product placement. We all love the yak. Yak attack, as it's called. He does have a plan to get a whole bunch of people to fly a formation something or other out in this general area in his yak, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's interesting, we started the stream with a slight conversation of respect due to a massive link, and anyway, we're going to end the stream with us doing DME arcs. Who would have thought? Thought we would have been doing that one. This this is a beautiful plane. It'd be nice if Alabeo let PilotEdge release a CSL of it, but Alabeo and Coronado have a slight fear of the object files being made, I believe, public, and that's why they are concerned about public release of the object files. Well, they aren't even public. Like, you have to pay for the system. You have to pay for PilotEdge. Not really. PilotEdge does offer a 2-week trial, so I can see where their concern might be, but most of the people who are on the 2-week free trial don't even know about the HD CSLs unless they've been told about them. Oh, well, remember when I told you we were going to overshoot? That's going to happen. Here comes Max back. I mean, we could do further. We could do more, but we're going to come back in and intercept it. This time we're going 45 degrees. And yeah, that'll do. Just talking about Coronado CSLs and not thinking about flying the airplane. So here comes the flip. You'll notice we're going to get to about 600 minutes and then the flip will occur. But we're headed back into 10 and then we'll start the arc from there. Normally, from my understanding, you wouldn't be intercepting the arc at 90 degrees. You'd kind of have a 45-degree intercept to the arc, and I just completely forgot to do that. So that's going to get us to about 10, hopefully. We'll kind of do some corrections if we notice we're getting too close. If our closure rate to 10 is a little bit more than I would like. So we're going to bring it back in because we're going to pass it here. So we need to get to 10 and then we'll actually start flying the DME, and it'll give us 45 degrees from perpendicular when we start flying the DME arc. There's 10, level it out. And we'll turn this way to kind of stop us from going to 9.9. Once this crosses, we're going to start the 45 turn for this, and then we'll just fly direct to the field. See how that's like 597 minutes? If we're at exactly 10.00, then it'll be 600 minutes. But because we're not, it's not quite 600 minutes. So we're going to turn back here. So now you're going to see this number should be closer to 600 than it was before. And 98. See that? 598. Pitch control is not too good on this flight. Alright, so we're going to call that good for aviation, and 45 degrees would be here. And that's how far we're going to fly this arc. To increase our bank of turn, there's 598 again. If we kept going and got a little bit closer, it'd be 600. So we're going to keep that going for a little bit here. There's 4, then we should see 3. Nope, let's turn away from it. 4, 3. And also, as you get further and further out, you're going to have a shallower and shallower rate of bank. So before, to do the 2.5, we were here. To do the 5, we were about here. And to do the 10, we're probably going to be very shallow indeed. So let's turn into the VOR and see what happens. Turning into the VOR increases our number. There's 9.9. There goes my ±0 marker I was going for. It's fine. Apparently on a DME arc, you have plus minus, I think, Disgrace, you said it was 2 miles, plus minus 2 miles, was it? And, or maybe even 1 mile, so 0.1, a tenth of what they expect from a pilot is pretty dang good in this sense. It'd be pretty bad if you were going a tenth of the speed they were expecting, but in this case, no harm, no foul. This one should be definitely a bit closer to 600 minutes here. There's 601, so we're actually going to fly towards the VOR a little bit more than we did out of it. And we're going to roll the bank here, see what we get to. Roll out of it so that way we don't get to 9.9. There it was, 9.9. Just need to watch the speed. Not our aircraft speed, but our speed on the DME indicator. This is going to come back to 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just going to keep counting. I think we can all count in the upwards direction. Counting down can sometimes be hard for people, but counting down from 10 to 0 shouldn't be too bad. But oh no, we're above 10. Swing ourselves back around, and we're going to fly that plus minus 0 now, so which means I'm going to shut the mic off and actually focus. And there was a weather update. Alright, we're going to keep flying it actually, just to prove the point plus minus 0, because I haven't been able to do it yet. So there's some terrain ahead, but we're going to get ourselves back to 10. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when we were at 9.9, it was 597 minutes, so that's kind of the distinguisher between the two. We're going to keep a climb, just because we kind of want to avoid collision with mountains, especially in one of these planes. We don't have a drill bit on the front. There's no we are going to make it through that. So we'll let the plane naturally climb itself out here with a nose or higher attituder than the one we had before. And we'll come back in and we'll land on one of the runways. We took off runway 8, so I think there is a runway 15, if not very close to 15. I'm not sure which way we're going. Okay, we are going away from the VOR, so I'll head back towards it. Climb out over these mountains, probably not the legally 1,500 feet over the terrain, but the only one that's here is you guys. You guys aren't going to tell the FAA, the virtual FAA, about this, neither am I. So no need to discuss any further. Go, we're headed away from the VOR, so start a turn back into Mr. VOR, or miss it, don't want to discriminate. And we'll roll level again. And we'll see what it's doing. So we're headed towards or away from it. Looks like we're headed away, so we'll bank in. Nope, towards it, so we'll bank out. And away from it, I guess. And it is away, so back we go. Back into it we go, and now we're headed towards it, so we roll level. You see, it's just these small, minute, minuscule, very tiny changes, but I mean my pitch access is kind of wonky, but my roll access is fine. We're going to head back in towards it and roll level. We're coming up upon our intercept. You guys can see it here. We're going to roll back out of it, and there's 3. 3, are you going to appear 3? There's 3. Here comes 2, 1, 0, 1 going away from it, and back towards it we go. And, oops, that minimized X-plane, that could have been bad. And then we're going to roll into it. There's 0. There's 600 minutes exactly. And here comes our heading, so we're going to start a roll towards the airport in a bit. So we're going to roll out of it. That number decreases. So there you go. That was plus minus 0 at the end. And we started with some noise, could be the joystick, and a bank to come back to the airport. If you guys like this kind of idea that I'm doing with these ARCs, I can continue doing the ARCs so you guys can kind of understand it. But I just thought this would be a quick, easy, simple, something that was kind of entertaining, a little bit interesting. Clearly the Yak didn't think so, but whatever. You know, they're Russian. They don't always think through some of their actions. No offense to any Russians in the audience. And so that'll pretty much do it. We're just going to head back to the airport. We're going to land. We're going to figure out which way the wind is. The wind was 330 at 6, so if we do have a runway tree or tree 0 or somewhere in between, that would be nice. I'm probably going to land there, but that'll pretty much do it for me. That was us doing the 10 DME arc. I can obviously pause the sim. I do have that capability. Control P, and I always keep doing the C key, but if I do Shift 4 and go up, yeah, we do need a good CSL for it. So let me head back up here and take a look at everything. Can someone familiar with X-Plane, etc., what's a CSL? A CSL is an online model. So that Yak is based off the real thing, yes, but it isn't an actual plane that you can fly. So here's an aerial view of our arc. This is our 10 nautical mile arc. In here we have our 2.5 nautical mile arc, and then our 5 nautical mile arc. So you can see that they're very, very arcy, and there's a little bit of bumps here and there, but overall with plus minus 0.1 and then plus minus 0.0, it works out doing it that way. Which airport are you near? I am near Blythe Airport. If you mean in real life, it's a different airport. So if there's no CSL, it's just a visual model. Well, PilotEdge has default visual models all around. Let me see if I can find one. There's one. See those lights up there? That's a visual model. I'm not sure what plane this is going to be, so pardon if it's a disgusting plane. But some of the CSLs that PilotEdge uses are kind of old, and so there's this HD CSL thing that was coded. And what that allows them to do is create near realistic models of the plane based off the aircraft that was created. So for example, there's a Bell 407. I'm not sure if the person in the Yak is still here, or if they could load in a 407, and that's an online model of the 407 they'd be flying, or if they're in an R22. But if there's no HD CSL, obviously high definition, they're going to look something like this plane here, which isn't an HD CSL. The lights are ginormous, but there you go. This is a person or a robot, most likely a bot, and they're flying what looks to be a Cherokee or an Archer. A Cherokee or an Archer. And that is the standard model for them, and that Yak 52 was an HD model, which just means, one, the textures are a little bit crisper, and two, there's more animation inside the plane. So in an HD model, this is actually surprisingly hard to follow this guy. In an HD model, you'll have the control surfaces will move, landing gear will move, gear will rotate, lights will be a little bit higher definition than these lights. But there you go, that's a view of our arcs from the air, and then that's our intercept course to come back to the VOR. You guys can see that we're probably not going to make it to the runway. I think this is 33, 17, and 17. Let's see what we got runway-wise in tree, because we're headed towards it tree. So we'll just land on runway 8. We'll make it fun. The VOR is right here, so we're headed direct towards the VOR, and then we'll just turn final for runway 8 and land on 8. But that's how I do DME arcs. Apparently you can do it in the real world. I'm not sure how responsive this gauge will be, but nonetheless. Also, this gauge is good for ground speed. Not ground speed. Is it ground speed? It's either ground or true airspeed. There's a difference. I think this one's good for ground speed, but I would say don't quote me on that. Because what this is measuring is your closure distance on the VOR, and since VORs don't float, it'll be a VOR on the ground, which will give you your ground speed. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So that's what a CSL is. We do have the Yak 52. There is a potential if Soulmate Sim gives an A-OK that there could be a Beaver CSL, which would be used for planes like the Cessna 195 and the Staggerwing. The Sukhoi 26 or whatever it is going to be modeled off that Yak CSL, so I think that guy was actually, or girl, don't want to discriminate, was actually in a Sukhoi 26. So I can talk to him on TeamSpeak Post and be like, yeah, what plane was that in? And he'll probably let me know, who knows. But you just set an offset for the plane CG and it'll all kind of work out. There was supposed to be a DC-3. I know that Heli, Chris Stewart, for those who know him by Chris Stewart, or for those who know him as Heli Pilot, now you know his name is Chris. He was going to create a DC-3 CSL, but he had some issue creating it, and I'm not sure. I haven't contacted him about how that CSL is going. Let's see what we got on our closure rate. We're about 5.5 away. We're closing in from the southeast, which means we're to the northwest. Gonna head to the Blythe VR and then straight in 7. Blythe traffic, business line rate 27 Whiskey Uniform, currently about 5 to the northwest. Gonna proceed to the Blythe VR, then straight in runway 7, Blythe. And maybe there was a comm communication and I actually missed it because I wasn't playing the comms to my headphones. So if there was a communication by the Yak, I would have missed it, or the Sukhoi. I don't know. There's runway 7, and it's always exciting when I land a tail wheel at an airport. I did fix the flaps. I can show you guys how to do that post-stream. He had his flap speed set at 93 knots, which, as you can see, the white arc starts at 120. So it might be accurate if the accurate flap setting was in there, especially if you're going to fly with any of these activated, which is remove flight surfaces and all that, which does make it a little bit more challenging, but it's kind of pointless if the person who creates the plane doesn't even type in the right number. It's like, why are you building a quote-unquote plane for a flight model that's a little bit more realistic, but yet you don't put in any real-world numbers, but yet your gauge runs off a real-world number? Kind of the thing that gets me. So we're going to reduce power, and where is the Blythe VR? That is the question. It's a little bit off to our left. Are you on our hilltop? Where are you, Blythe VR? Reduce speed. We're going to get below 120. We're going to start a turn to final, which will be 070. We might even be able to get a radio off that. I'm not sure if 070 would be straight in. Probably not. And Blythe traffic. Business line rate 27 Whiskey Uniform, currently on a 4.5 mile final. To runway 8, Blythe. Alright. To drop the speed. Well, he knows that I can make a CSL, so I'm not sure why he wouldn't just ask me, but if you could shoot me a link to that forum post, that'd be excellent. Finally, flaps that actually work. There's going to be an upward nose tendency with these flaps just because of their location. They're aft of the CG point, and well, that doesn't make any sense actually. If they're aft of the CG point, they don't create any lift. The goal of those flaps is to clearly produce drag. But there is that Yak 55 CSL, which just have to check the offset, which I'll probably do post-stream. And then he gets a Yak 55. And then if Soulmate gives me a yes, he'll get a DHC2 Beaver. And then if Chris finishes the DC-3, then Chris would push a DC-3. If Heli Pilot needs help making a CSL, I mean, he could ask, or I'll just talk to him about it maybe later. See if that's a back burner project or something else he's doing. Obviously, Chris does have real work, saving the beautiful country of Canada somehow in some way. But I'll have to see what he's doing with that CSL there. We're gonna land a bit long, just because for descent planning 1 and 2, this runway is ridiculously long, and there's also Pappy in the middle, which is kind of exciting to see. Alright, slight flare to reduce the speed. And just more flare. And plop. There you go, no bounce. The key to stopping the bounce here, now why are we off center line? You see those things in the middle of the runway? It's really not a good thing to run over with a tail wheel. Yes, that thing's about to die down there. Well, up there in the upper corner of your screen. For me, it's down on my oh, touchdown with some lateral movement there. Alright, here comes the ground loop, maybe? Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. But you just have to apply forward pressure when you land, or else you're just going to keep bouncing. And so what I used to do is just go, oh, nope, we bounced, oh, nope, we bounced, and I'd flare it, go like this every time, and then right before we touch down, I'd let it go, but I wouldn't be applying forward pressure. There he is. So, you wondered what an HD CSL looks like, might as well take advantage of the moment. That's an HD Yak CSL, so you can compare the, well, maybe if I could get a camera set up, you can compare the clarity of that HD CSL versus the non-HD CSL that you guys saw before. So again, that is most likely Josh J. Gibbs in Yak, because he hasn't been communicating in chat, and just assume that it's him, because he knows how to fly a Yak. He's been in tail draggers pretty much, I would say, all of his aviation career. He's the person where I learned most of the stuff that you see from, so I have admiration for the guy's knowledge. Definitely a very cool guy to talk with. He has some very interesting stories. I would call it he's more of a bush pilot, for those who wondered. There it is. There he is again. There he is again, folks. He's more of a bush pilot than, procedure pilot, if that makes sense. Like, he knows how to fly the VOR Alpha approach, I think. He knows how to do a lot of things into his home field of Gillespie. But he's definitely very knowledgeable if you want to go, I have this much airspace, or this much space to get this plane down in. What techniques would I use to stop this plane? So I guess I would call it more stall capable. And Blythe traffic, business liner 27 Whiskey Uniform, clear runway 7, correction 8, Blythe. There's again, inverted. Oh, that was bad. Oh, that just went south. Whew, he's recovered it though. Almost embarrassed himself live on Twitch. He's going to come back around and probably do more shenanigans. It'd be cool if you let me know if he was in a Yak or a Sequoia, but probably neither. Just stop here. Oh, here it goes. Just stop and become spectators. Just kidding. We're going to turn off this helicopter. No, this is not a helicopter. Pull the handbrake. That has to be awkward. You have to bang your head in the panel just to get the brake down. Make sure that our prop is good. You can see that the oil temps are a little bit high. As we maneuver the prop around, the oil temps will naturally rise. As we increase the mixture temp, the cylinder head temp or the EGT temp, the oil will also rise. It's going to come out. We're going to give that a pull all the way out. And Radio Master can come off. Landing light can come off. We're just going to stop in the middle of a taxiway, because why not? Strobes can come off. Engine has stopped spinning. Prop will come back, all the way back. This will come off. Starters disengage. Those are off. Alternator is off. Radio is turned off before I killed the engine, I think. Navigation, beacon, battery. And pretty much that's all I got. Would anyone be interested in PE formation? Yeah, I mean, if Josh wants to, we could do some Yak formation right here, right meow. My surface is going to die, as you can tell. It keeps complaining to me. But that's pretty much all that I had for how I was going to do DME ARCs. So that pretty much explains how I would do DME ARCs, a way to do DME ARCs and be fairly precise with your DME ARCness. I mean, this plane is actually beautiful, interior-wise. So if you guys want, and if he wants, we can do some formation. And yes, Kat, this is the newest top-of-the-line PMDG Cessna 195. They realized that in their DC-6 initial release that the panel shake was kind of not well implemented, so they kind of got rid of it with this. You can see it's hard mounted to the firewall. You can see that it's definitely PMDG. PMDG level texturing. The windows are ginormous. Classic PMDG. Fun thing about this actual Alabama 195, for those who thought it was PMDG, is you can turn on and off the window screens, and I pretend like it gets brighter inside here. But anyway, if Josh would like, we could load up into a Yak and do some form flying. The issue is his CSL's rubber banding, which could be an issue on my end. If you watch it carefully, you're going to see it kind of goof itself forward and around. But this is pretty much the plane that his Yak is. This Yak CSL is based off of. I'll show you guys that. I'll update the title. Well, I actually have no clue what we're going to be doing. But that's pretty much how I would fly DME ARCS. I'm just going to keep saying, that's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. But that's how I would fly a DME ARC. So, this is the Yak 55. There's one or two things that'll be different from the standard Yak 55 that you guys get. If you guys get it from the org. Two things had to be changed with this Yak. Do I have a Yak picture? No, I do not. The two things that had to be changed was an animation had to be reassigned to a proper data ref, so that way the canopy would be open and close, relative to the way it should. He had it set to a custom slider. YK55 is the identifier. Anyway, so we had it set to a custom slider, so I had to change it to a canopy open data ref. So we got two guys here, two guys in Yak attacks. Looks like they're actually in form, so it looks like we got a tag team of folks here. One might be Kat and one might be Josh. Wonderful folks. If you guys haven't talked to them, definitely talk to them on TeamSpeak. If you don't know what TeamSpeak, oh dear. You know it's a bad day when your Yak is doing that on the ground. You know it's just a terrible day. Battery, Jen's coming on. We'll turn on the radio just to be nice to people at Blythe. There we go. Alright, we'll pull the prop back. So you guys might say, hey, that plane looks... Hopefully that guy doesn't reset his plane. Did he? Looks like he did. So he might be right on top of us. No, he's not. But this is the Yak 52, or 55 CSL. I don't know where he is. Could be bad if we had a head-on applied directly to the forehead with these two planes. So we'll close our canopy, which means we're ready to skid off the runway and into the air. Go full power, that's been pulled back. And control the plane. One would in theory rotate at about less than 100 or a little bit over 100. Stall speed for this clean is 150. You can see that we're approaching the end of the runway. At this point, one would normally pull back on the stick. Let's see where he is here. See, the issue is these don't have great viz. And so it would be easier if one of us formed up on each other, and probably they both disconnected if I can feel that one. Figure that one out. Oh, there's Google Chrome taking up my whole screen. Not letting me see what's going on. PilotEdge.net, great place for the PilotEdge map, for those who wonder where that could be. PilotEdge.net is the URL for that. I don't see them. And we'll just keep the bank going. Wonderful. But anyway, this is what the Yak's based off of. You guys can see this is the Yak CSL. This is now freeware. It used to be payware. Two things, as I say, that are different is the fact that the Yak, this was reassigned to be a manipulator instead of a click spot, and then reassigned to the canopy open data ref. So that way it would be translatable on the CSL side. All of these flight control surfaces do move on the CSL, and obviously the elevator moves. And the prop, if it's a disc, it's invisible because he didn't assign a prop disc texture, so I just have the prop spinning. There he is. Alright, so not to confuse him, we'll roll level. And there he is. Oh, there's the guy. There's the guy who's following us. So, never mind, he is still connected to PilotEdge. We're going to adjust ourselves here and make this a little bit easier on him. We're trimming ourselves out, not enough apparently. And we'll reduce power, just to make it easier for him. We're pulling about 7.5. And a little bit less than 7.5. Where'd he go? Start a bank here. He'll be able to figure that one out. Not sure if we're supposed to join up. Where could he be? I don't know. But it'd be cool if I could get behind him. So Josh, if you're in the stream, if you could take the lead, or Kat, if that may be you, if you could take the lead. I'm just going to be doing circles here, so I should probably hop on a TeamSpeak. That might make it a wee bit easier for everyone involved. Stand by. Pausing the sim. Land so we can show it off. Good call. Alright, so we're going to go this way. Blythe traffic, 87 Whiskey Uniform, right downwind, runway something, Blythe traffic. 2 tree? Yeah. Blythe traffic. Yak, 87 Whiskey Uniform, turning downwind, correction, base, runway 23, Blythe. Blythe traffic, Yak 827 Whiskey Uniform, turning final 23, Blythe traffic. The reason why I didn't space those out at all is because I didn't space them out at all on the plane. Oh, bounce. Forgot to add forward stick. There's forward stick. Alright, so as we add brake, you want to add a little bit of back stick. And as you get slower, apparently the brakes get more precise. So we got 2 guys up here in yaks. So here goes 1 yak. Perfect, perfect. Whoa, that would have almost cut myself. And we'll head clear of the runway. 22.8 should be the Unicom Freak. Apparently I'm the only one using that. So I'll let him come in for a landing, and take a look at that here. Put on the brake, and we'll head over here, see who's going to actually be landing. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, don't forget the pole. There we go. See, that's what I'm talking about. There's some rubber banding here on my end, which could be bad. So we got Josh on board, and it looks like we got Ben, actually, not Cat. Sorry about that, Cat, if you were in here and I was saying, oh yes, Cat's out here flying with us. But we got Ben and Senior Gibbs doing a flight around. So that is Mr. Wells and Mr. Gibbs. And that first plane that we saw who did the low flyby was Mr. Gibbs. And this one might be Mr. Gibbs too. So anyway, it's hard to distinguish which plane is which. But there you go. That is Mr. Gibbs. That is mine. The only way you can tell is with the prop disc. See? Very cool, right? Some radical stuff right there. And that's what the CSL can do for you. And then once he kills his engine, you'll see that too. But if we get into our plane, you can see his canopy opens, and ours opens too. Isn't that ridiculous? And there we go. We both don't have a textured head. I don't know why, but neither of us do. It's just not something that that happened. We'll see if Ben's flying around. Where is this on the org? Just do a little bit of work. There you go. That's it dying. Kind of missed it, but see if we can kill our plane. Yes, we can. Let me find a link for you. Just pretty much, I always find that Google is a wonderful tool. So I go to google.com. Just going to walk you guys through the steps sarcastically. But, Nick, if you just Google it, you go Yak55 X-Plane. It'll be pretty much your first link. If not, then Yak55 Freeware X-Plane. Pretty much if you give me like 20 seconds, I'll push you a link for it. But the issue is what I have, because I had to modify the canopy to make it an HD CSL, is different than what yours will look like. But it's by the same guy who did the BK117. It's a beautiful plane. And I'll probably hop on a TeamSpeak just to make it a little bit more cohesive, so there isn't a 30-second delay if one of us is going to do form flying, which will also give me a chance to change my Twitch title so it doesn't look like I'm going to be flying DME ARCS in a Yak 55, which would be kind of ridiculous. Yak 55, maybe, maybe not. And stuff. Oh, he's got different scenery than we do. Alright, so that is us in a Yak. There's this, which is a link. There you go. Alright, so Mr. Ben Wells has definitely touched down at the airport at Blythe. Hopefully he doesn't nose over, because that would be kind of awkward. You got this, Ben Wells. You got this. Tokyo it around. Tokyo. Alright, he's coming in to park. The excitement is real. Will he make it? You could actually nose over in this plane fairly quickly, so I'm being slightly sarcastic about whether he'll make it, but there is a slight truth to whether or not he will make it, because I've nosed over in this many a time. Yeah, I don't know. It's also available on the org store, but it is available here, so we shall figure it out. Hop, skip, and a jump? Nope. Does he have his canopy open? Nope. Where's he parking? That's the question. That is the question. Oh, he's going to come back around. He's going to come back around. All right, so I'm going to hop on a TeamSpeak. That is Mr. Gibbs's TeamSpeak, for those who actually wonder. For those who don't wonder, now you know a useless fact that you can never use. You're welcome. And let's see what we got. Fact. Just to make sure everything's kosher, I'll just restart the stream to make sure that the server's doing well. I'll be right back. No, actually, no need to. TeamSpeak. I was going to like close the stream and come back, but why do that when everything is fine on my end and hopefully fine on your end? I don't nose over, bruh. Hello, X-Plane pilots, my friend. How are you doing? Taking a look at an HD CSL, which should be soon released on PilotEdge. Keith just needs to get a hold of it. And if one of them would do a full back, you'd be able to see that their control surface does move on their elevators equally as much as mine. That's me. That's Josh. There you go. There's a wiggling control surface. So you can see exactly what they're doing with their control surface there. Ben at some point will shut down his engine, but who knows? Who knows? The mysteries of life continue on Flight SciTech with HD CSLs. God, if that was a series, I'd be sorry for someone who was watching it. Oh, yeah. Connected. Yeah, that's not going on stream. They just said toodles.
What do you think?
Oh, man.
These guys virtual audio cable set. Or mute.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so we're sitting here with the folks in TeamSpeak. We're good, they didn't say it that time.
We decided to stream bomb you.
Oh, I was well aware. You notice how we went full instruments?
Pipe us into the stream.
You are into the stream now, just wait 30 seconds.
Toodles.
Doodles.
There we go. Ben, you wanna say it as well? Alright, so Ben just... okay. So Ben just stopped his engine. He's got his canopy open. We gotta figure out who's gonna take boss here.
So we're gonna do one formation takeoff here?
Yeah, we can do that. You wanna log out and log back in as the Viper Jet? You'll look ridiculously stupid, but someone asked if there's a Viper Jet CSL.
What is it, LXR?
It's VIPJ.
VIPJ.
Yeah. Yeah, Lumber, this is a new CSL. It's the Yak 52 CSL. See that Ben? Look at that. You see even his hands moving. I was going to do a canopy object.
And then I can R for an airline and livery, right?
It'd be 0 for airline and then the first letter of the livery. So if it's red, it'd be R. So you can see when you moved his control surface.
There you go.
VIPJ is what you typed in?
What am I in as?
172. So that's not the Viper Jet. That wasn't the Viper Jet. Whoops. I think Ben also has it here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there you go. You have a slight CG problem, but yeah, it's you. So that's him. If you can close your canopy. Yeah, I know.
I guess I can reload in. Well.
That's up to you. I mean, you can just keep in the yak. I just wanted to show that it's done.
Well,
So
let me just let me load.
he started his engine, so you know what? We'll do the same.
I'll taxi over to you because it's gonna spawn me somewhere else.
Sounds good. So this, for those of you guys who missed it, 5 Chickens, one of his planes that he flew was totaled, and the reason was the person went forward into a fuel tank. So they, well, not a fuel tank, but the guard post had a fuel thing, because they couldn't see in front of them because they were in a tail wheel. So that's kind of created an issue here. But we'll let him reload so you guys can see that CSL. Who did this yak? You're talking to the person, Mr. Lumber. I'm the one who did the yak. It took about 5 hours to finish. Oh, there he goes.
Alright, taxiing over to you.
I got you in sight. So there you go. You can see, because he's... Can you do just a light switch through all your lights? So that was landing first, taxi second. You got your navs on, strobes on as well. And so that's what he looks like in the taxi. So So you can kind of see he's got his canopy down and he's in the taxi. You can open is your canopy closed?
Let me open it.
Alright, and he can also open his canopy here.
If you stand up and turn yourself about, you can do the hokey pokey. Can you do that for me, Josh?
You want to see me do a 360?
Yeah, dude,
No,
you're on the catwalk right now.
Hang on, let me get the canopy open. I got the pressure.
NDA Designs is the one who did the yak
Don't be a bitch.
lumber.
I gotta take the canopy seal off.
Ooh, Mr. Fancy sealed canopy over here.
There, it's open.
So there you go. So that's what it looks like when a canopy's open.
It worked. Wait, cut, get over. What? Close the.
What?
Oh, that's open. Alright.
You gotta wait for the 30-second delay there. So there you go. So it even includes the back part, the back lighting. I did all the lighting because the lighting was done in PlaneMaker, so it's just easier for me to do it that way. But yeah, if you guys want to do some formation stuff, we can do it. Just pick your plane. Pick your poison.
Be right back. Blue Angels are ripping over my house.
That's nice. There's the Miramar Air Show, which is happening today. So Josh is near Miramar, and we got Ben over there on the taxi out to the Doonies. I don't know. He's just gonna go play short field landing pilot. And that's who did it. Lumber was NDA. Wait to sign up for PilotEdge once I get paid. Haha. Yeah, I mean that's PilotEdge. Yeah, it's a good principle. It's a good thing to practice.
Oh, that was so badass. These 6 ship came over my house, right over my house, 300 knots.
Nice. I have to send you that video I got of them flying over my college. Yeah. What's your quick livery question?
Yeah, let's do a 3 ship.
3 ship and a yak.
What's that?
Sounds good to me. I actually got some.
I can stay in the jet.
That'd be very confusing, but it's up to you.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll get the door.
So anyway, so that's what. Go ahead and ask your livery question, but those are the 2 CSLs that are done. You got the yak over here, which is taxiing back to runway 33. We should probably move out of the way. We'll pull back and rotate here. Because this guy's going to be taking off. I'm not sure who that is. And he's going to be on the rollout, and off we go. Oh, maybe not. Maybe they aren't on the rollout. They got cold feet. Rejected takeoff. RTO. I downloaded liveries for the Viper. Okay, this one's actually one that I have to read. Yes, Lumber, this is the freeware one. I'm not sure what the difference is between the payware, but you can still do one of these. Let's see if we can do this without nosing over while I read your question.
Are you down the end of the runway or something?
That might be something, yeah.
Let's see. Don't rename it. Yeah, don't rename it. It goes inside X-Plane Pilots. Welcome to the world of X-Plane. When you download a livery, however you would like to pronounce it, inside your X-Plane main folder, you go to your aircraft. Let's say it's for the yak, which would be hopefully under General Aviation. You go into that folder, you'd see a file called liveries, drag the file in there with whatever it's called. So in one case, let's say it's the November 963 Delta Hotel livery. Then you have an objects file inside of it. Just drag everything there. Now we're stuck in dirt. Who's taking boss on this?
I'll take the lead for you. Ben, you're in the center of the runway, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so just move over the right a little bit, I'll take the lead, you guys can fly after me.
Okay.
I'm going to scare this 172 at the other end of the runway here. Made a poor runway choice. What was that?
Is it a person or a drone?
It's a drone.
Okay, sir. You're off my left wing there, side tech.
Yeah, I'm off your left, behind you.
Okay, you guys ready to roll?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna hold the brake and about half throttle. Coming off in 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm just rolling into the power, and I'm on the 75%, so you guys have some extra.
Oh, there we go off the runway.
And lifting off.
So as long as you guys don't worry about when the CSL rubber band's behind you, you'll be fine. You just have to keep flying and keep an idea, right? So I reduce power, but then that's where he actually is. So just try and remember that your closure rate's not going to be what that's showing.
Starting a right turn now.
So he's going to give us calls as to what he's doing. Right turn, always important to know your directions. And maybe we'll catch up with him. Let's increase power. Decrease power.
Okay, rolling out. Head. And I go back to 80% on the props, and I'm at 50 on the manifold pressure.
So he told us 50 or 5 on the manifold pressure, so we're going to go a little bit faster so we can catch up with him. We don't want to have a drastic closure rate. We're going to need a whole bunch of up trim here. See if we can do this. Alright. Oh, there we go. Oh, there he is. And we'll reduce power. Look straight up. The issue is that we are slightly ahead. Where am I in respect to you? Never mind. So, due to... there's some weird speed bug here? Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
How you doing, Ben? Where you at?
I think I'm above you.
Yeah, you're above him.
Yep, directly above me. Alright, let's come into Tyler and do a little climb here.
So you can see my formation stuff does need some work. By no means do I pretend to be good at this, but definitely better than if I had 0 hours or 0 minutes doing this. Welcome. Oh, Nick gave you the link. Yeah, sorry about that. But feel free to hop in here, Lumber, if you like. We probably aren't going to go that fast. I'll shoot you the new object file, so that way your canopy will actually open. I did modify the sound, so yours might sound different as well. Maybe, maybe not. I can't be looking at this and trying to fly form. There he is.
Tyler, I think you're 200 below me, behind me.
Yeah, I'm coming up quick. Trying to deal with a broken canopy. Alright, so there you go. Now we're flying form with,
Are you in the loop?
Sure.
you just
You
call
guys
it.
get formed up on me here. I'm at tough. You guys look like you're forming up on me. So get in as close as you guys can. Okay, we'll do a slight to 300 knots and pull it over.
Okay.
You guys just let me know when you're in position.
3's in.
I'm in.
Okay, starting a dive now. Full throttle. Just diving. Looking for 300 on the kilometers an hour. Okay, there's our airspeed pulling now.
Oh, so much for being off his wing.
And pulling harder over the top. And power all the way down. Nice,
And
Ben.
he's gone. There he is.
You guys sit off your left side pretty well there.
Nice, good job.
Thank you.
So I'm up, leveled off here at 1300 and power back so you guys can catch up.
It's definitely not as smooth as something like DCS, but you just have to keep in mind when that
How about
CSL
hammerhead?
goes zooming. He's not going to be there.
Yeah. To the right.
Figure out what the P factor.
P factors, you counter it with left correction,
Oh,
right
yeah.
pedal.
but if I go straight up and then I want to do a left hammerhead, the prop will pull it around. But I got that backwards because the props is backwards, so it's easier to go to the right.
Alrighty. Let's give this a shot whenever you're ready.
Okay, everybody locked in here? So, we'll just dive to 300 and then straight up, and then as soon as I run out of speed, tail it over. So, and starting the push, full throttle, and starting to push now.
Ooh, massive push.
Okay, there's 2,500. There's 300 kilometers, pulling up on the upline.
Oh, we just went
On
straight
the
up.
upline. And there's 100 kilometers an hour, and here it comes.
What the?
Power out on the downline.
And he's gone.
And pulling out of. Coming back into power and up to 1,500 feet.
Completely gone. Yeah, you're gone for me.
Do a 180.
180.
I'm going to come back to you too. Ben, are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm out in front of you, I think.
You drag it into the liveries folder, explain pilots. See if we can close this. There we go.
I don't know why I don't see you.
That's one thing with these planes, they don't have
Just
lights.
keep coming. I'm going to do a quick left 360. I'll be right in front of you.
Altitude?
I'm at 1,500.
Okay.
Should be joining from your 2 o'clock. Should be right in front of you.
Nope.
No. I'm just a touch below you. I got you. Keep them heading. Just across behind you.
Checking.
Pull the power back up. Just pull the power back up and pull it in front of you.
Yeah, no worries. Back to like 8, so I'll pull it back to like 7, 6. 6
Just
it
jump
is.
all the way out so I can catch up.
And full idle.
Okay, I'm coming up. I'll be coming up on your left side here. You can start backing the throttle now. Okay, should be right in front of you now.
Yep, gotcha.
I'll let you catch up. It's a little power.
Alright. Watch this quick fix.
And you got us on the 4 flight.
Yep.
There you are, perfect. Okay, you want to try a steep turn? Turn to the right. We'll do it flying. Just do a big rounding right turn on the upline. Be like a big 180 at the top. See if I can hold position.
Why not?
Okay, let's start a dive down to 300 knots, full power.
I went too much on the
And
dive.
dive, speed. Okay, there's our speed at 300, starting the that'll be a 45 up line. And now right run for a big right steep.
Oh, what? He's completely blocked by this windscreen. Yeah, I got you lost inside the housing for this window.
Oh, got you, no worries. Now I'm rolling out 180 degrees your way it became.
What? This is not going well at all. See? Visibility's hard with these CSLs. They're good, but hard to see. Yeah, I got nada.
That's right, I'll vector spec and come right 90.
Right to the 9. That is a squashed... Do you see the squashed airfield right in front of me? You'll see it on stream. It looks so stupid.
Why don't we land right there real quick?
You want to do short field there?
Hell yeah, going in right now.
Alright. You just going straight in, or you coming in for a downwind?
I don't know, I'm at your 3 o'clock right now, and I'm just going straight in. Yeah,
Okay, I'll loop back around.
got you spotted over there.
How close are you to the field? Ish.
On a mile final here, but you're, I'm at your 2 o'clock. 2 to 3. Coming rolling into final.
Yeah, I don't see you at my 2 or 9, but you just call when you're down and I'll come in.
Well, no, you're fine. You can come in now. About 140 is the, 150 is the, a good approach. 140, 130 is like a 3-point at that. What's with this airport?
I don't know, that's why I pointed it out. I was like, the runway's stupidly fat, but stupidly short.
It's like a dwarf.
Yep.
Look at it on Google Maps. It's an old abandoned airstrip.
Yeah, I know. Josh, Lumber
156.
says you have to get DCS there.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, it's free on Steam. Now, we have enough power to actually pull through this. I'm going to land on the right side, just in case my speed is too slow for you.
I think we're both down.
Oh, I haven't touched down yet.
Yeah.
Bounce that ass of the plane around a little bit.
I got on the brakes and I had to snag and grab a handful of bitter.
Even the struts move when he lands on the CSL.
That's pretty awesome.
Sorry,
Hey.
decompressed. That's the right word there.
What are you guys doing all the way down there?
Because we just let it roll out. Oh, man.
Ah, good call. Alright, so then we're just going to roll here and park on the left side. We'll open our canopy. And here comes the turn. Oh man, you're very welcome. Yeah, we got kind of relaxed at the end there. But yeah, this is what's going to be pushed to Keith here in a bit.
It's nice when you open that canopy and get the breeze going, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Microphone activated.
Yeah, it is pretty sweet. One in the desert breeze.
Alright, we all gonna turn our engines off at the same time here?
Ready to hit it?
You call it.
I just turned mine off.
Oh, good one. So if you guys didn't know which plane was mine, it'd be very hard to tell if we were all at the same elevation. But there you go, that's them. And they can also hear me on TeamSpeak because it's the same push-to-talk key. Sorry about that. And anyway, that's
Push to talk on OBS.
us on the same... No, control is my push-to-talk on TeamSpeak, so when I do control period to move forward slowly, you guys are going to get to hear everything that I say unless I use the other control period, in which case I need to have, like, hands twice as long as I have. Or we could actually try it.
How's the game?
There you go. So, that is, there you go. That's us all parked. So, I mean, I think that's pretty much going to do it for me.
Nice. CSLs look good sitting there.
Yeah. So, we're all in the performance livery library. There are other livery libraries. The frames are incredible, though. And we're just sitting here.
Stream, Tyler.
Sitting here chilling. Sorry. Hello, Max.
You're not done yet.
React 55.
Nice.
So,
Tyler, how's it going, dude?
pretty good, man. How you doing? So that's Max.
Groovy, tootling it up.
For those of you guys who don't know, he has a strange Toodles addiction. Sure. And that'll pretty much do it for me. So I thank you guys. I thank you guys for joining me. And sorry, I cut that out. Do it again. And anyway, so I'll catch you guys on the flip side. As always, I'm Flight SciTech. You guys have a good one. And anyway, so you guys have a good one. As always, fly safe. Catch you guys on the flip side, and you guys have a wonderful day. And insert a good outro here. I could give you guys a replay of the landing if you guys wanted it. In fact, why the heck not give you guys a replay of that? Does anyone have the free Lear 35? As far as I know, we don't have the. I don't have the free Lear 35. I'll give you guys a closing here. I'll discon from PilotEdge, and we'll just let the music play us out as we always like to do, I guess. So anyway, so that pretty much will do it for me. As always, you guys have a good one. And actually, we won't have any music for this one. I'm not feeling the music. But that was how I flew DME ARCS at the beginning. I'll definitely push that to a highlight for some extent, some parts of it. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I gotta move this camera. It's in a terrible location. And we're still taxiing. Okay, there we go. Alright. You guys have a good one. Peaces. And Lumberhacks, because you know how much we hate odd numbers, you have a good one there, Mr. Lumberhacks. Keep drinking to every time I say that. You'll have a fun time.